and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about cockatiels. Barry just wants attention too. Don't be grumpy. These guys are the most popular pet parrot in the United States. I think the reason for that is that compared to other parrots, they are less expensive to obtain and maintain. They are smaller, so they're easier to handle, therefore the bites hurt a little less. And they are extremely social birds, making them really good pets for a lot of people. Now, cockatiels are a parrot, so when I go over general parrot care requirements such as nail trimming or dietary requirements, it does apply to cockatiels as well. They are in the family of the cockatoo, so they do have similarities such as the little feathers on the head, and they also produce a dust like the other cockatoos. And that's one of the things that I like about cockatoos, is that to me they feel softer than other types of parrots, and this is because they produce a dust that coats their feathers. But this can also make them a lot messier, and I don't recommend cockatoos and cockatiels, especially cockatiels, for people who have asthma or other allergies. This can actually make their allergies a lot worse. They do produce a lot of dust and feathers, and just they're very messy birds. So don't get a cockatiel if you want a pet that's going to be very clean all the time. They're clean themselves, but their cage is always going to be really, dirty around it with feathers, things like that, so you have to clean it often. And then when they're sitting with you, we'll see if she does it today, but sometimes she'll be sitting here and she'll just ruffle all her feathers, and pretty soon I have like all of this like dander and like dust and stuff in my hair. So that's something you have to be aware of if you want a bird like this. Now, of course, social animals always need a companion. It's generally a good idea to have two cockatiels. So if your cockatiel is not tame, they do need a companion. There's no but what ifs, what if I spend a lot of time with it? What if my bird doesn't like other birds? A cockatiel needs a companion. So if that's not going to be you, if it doesn't like interacting with you and for you to handle it, then they need someone to interact with. So Remy right now is by herself, and this can be because a hand-fed cockatiel can be difficult to introduce another cockatiel to. This basically happens with most parrot species if they're hand-raised. So she is very demanding of my time, and she spends a lot of time with me. So right now she is by herself. I may choose whether or not to, get her a companion later on in the future. I do want to get another cockatiel, especially one that she would, like being with. But it's really going to depend on her and how she would do with another cockatiel, if she's going to accept a companion. So with hand-tamed birds, it's a little bit different. And that, of course, brings up taming and all of that. It is very difficult to tame a parrot that has not been raised by humans. So if it's been parent-raised, it can be very difficult to tame. So if you want one like this that you can interact with and all of that, it's going to be a whole lot easier for you if you get a cockatiel that has been hand-fed or hand-raised. They're much easier to socialize with. And like I was saying, I do spend a lot of time with Remy. She gets at least 4 hours outside of the cage every day, more depending on my schedule. But I don't go to school, I don't work outside of the home, so it's okay for me to have just her because we're interacting with each other all the time. Whereas that might not work out for someone else's schedule. Now, a good place to start looking for a cockatiel is to look in rescues and look for a bird rescue. But it can be very difficult to adopt a parrot through a bird rescue depending on where you are. So the next suggestion I would have would be to go to a bird expo. And there you're going to be able to buy a cockatiel directly from a breeder. And that way they'll be able to answer all of your questions. And if they can't answer all of your questions, they're probably not a good person to buy a cockatiel from. And then there is also pet shops and things like that. Just remember though that pet shops are going to have cockatiels very overpriced. Now, something really important to remember about parrots is that seeds are not a good diet for parrots. So you can't get a cockatiel or any type of parrot and expect to be able to just feed it seeds out of a bag every single day. That's not healthy, and it's not a good option for companion parrots. I find that for cockatiels, at least 60% of the diet should be fresh food, and then the other 40% can be seeds. Now, Remy Remy loves her seeds, but she does not get her seeds if she does not eat her morning serving of chop. Now, chop is the best way to feed companion parrots, and if you're wondering what that is, or if you have questions on feeding a parrot a healthy balance of fresh vegetables, then be sure to check out my video, How to Feed a Parrot. Now, I did a video, it's going to be right here, and it's going to answer all of your questions as far as feeding birds and why seeds are bad and why you should be feeding fresh food. So please watch that video before asking any questions about that part of their diet. And then, of course, it's also great to provide them with a cuttlebone and a mineral block. Now, they do need to be provided with water 24/7, and this should be changed out daily. They also enjoy taking baths, and you should find out how your bird enjoys taking a bath. Remy, I actually take into the shower with me, but not all birds like that. Now, for cages, you want to go with an open wire cage. I have seen some people make bird cages out of furniture, but the ones with glass are really not a good option. This provides limited airflow, it gets really stuffy, it's not healthy for the birds. So you do want to make sure that it is going to have wire so that you get constant airflow. It does make, the room and everything a little bit messier, but your bird's health is really important. Now, a 24-inch by 24 by 18 is ideal for cockatiels, but anything bigger than that is perfectly fine. However, you want to make sure that the bar spacing is good. So about 5/8 is what you want to go with. Anything bigger than that, the cockatiel can actually get its head through the bars, and then it might get stuck and it can break its neck. So it's really dangerous if your parrot can get its head through the bars. They also need a lot of time outside of the cage, and this gives them a lot of exercise, a lot of stimulation, and a time to be social with you. Like I said, Remy spends a lot of time outside of her cage. Now, while they're in the cage, they of course need a lot of mental stimulation. So lots of toys is really good for them. I make a lot of toys for Remy, and you can actually see how to make toys by clicking on the iCard right here. And it's also important to provide a lot of perches in the cage. You can also get things like ladders, little bells, different things for them to play with and to stimulate their mind. And that's about it for Cockatiel Care. So if you can make a 20-year commitment and you can provide all of the care that we mentioned, and you don't mind a little bit of mess with dust, feathers, and bird poop, then maybe a cockatiel is the right pet for you. Thanks for watching, and you can see more of Remy on my Instagram. See you next time. Bye!